Hello everybody, my name is Scouticus, and today I'm going to be reacting to all the terminal cutscenes from Halo 2 Anniversary. Just like I stated in the Halo CE terminal cutscene reaction video, I watched some of the terminal cutscenes when I played the games. I just didn't watch all of them. And so not only was I requested to watch all the terminal cutscenes from Halo 2 and from Halo CE, but I genuinely like the lore of Halo, despite the fact that I barely understand it. I find it genuinely fascinating, and so I wanted to watch this anyway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this.
Pursuant to Office of ONI Retrieval and Acquisitions Inquiry
I
of
want
26
subtitles,
September
but
2552.
YouTube subtitles are
The following
not
is
my
a target
favorite thing.
profile of Thel Vadami, Supreme
So I'll just have
Commander
to
of the
listen.
Covenant Fleet of Particular Justice, compiled by Lieutenant Commander Locke. First confirmed contact with Vadami came in 2535 on an unofficial human colony known as the Rubble. After-action reports from civilians, as well as Spartan Units 006, 111, and 120, suggest that Vadami was at that point a relatively minor functionary of the Prophet of Regret. Spartan 006 engaged Vadami in combat on the Rubble.
Ah, is that Noble 6?
Both parties survived the encounter. Shortly after 2535, the UNSC first encountered the newly formed Covenant Fleet of Particular Justice, now led by Vadami.
We're learning some more Covenant lore.
Review of early engagements with this fleet show that it quickly grew in size from 5 to nearly 60 ships, as Vadami cut a path through many human systems. ONI Section 3 made multiple attempts to anticipate or even track Vadami's movements, at the cost of a number of operatives' lives. Vadami eluded all such efforts, and he continued his unpredictable and devastating campaign.
I feel like Vadami, is Vadami the Arbiter by chance? Because I remember them
also
saying
stands
that
out
he
from other
was
Covenant
a
commanders in
pretty
the
good
frequency in which he takes a
commander,
personal role in
or
ground
at least
assaults.
powerful enough politically. Powerful. Is he? Is he though? I don't know! Spartan 117? Is that Master Chief?
Camber was a major manufacturing center for UNSC fleet materials with a population of 5.6 million. After discovering Camber's location, Vadami
Who's
penetrated the
speaking
early
right now?
warning
Why does he
perimeter
know so
without
much about
alerting
both
UNSC
sides?
forces,
Is it
and
just a
began its
general
ground and
narrator,
orbital
or is it an
attacks
actual
before Most
character?
of the planet knew they were in danger. While 17 of his ships bombed key defensive positions, Vadami led a group of elites in a personal assault on UNSC System HQ. One of the first units to engage Vadami was the 3rd Battalion Reserves, who were so unprepared
It's
for
my-
the arrival of the
it's
Covenant
my funky
forces
music
that Vadami
from Halo
found
2
them
that's on.
unarmed and defenseless.
I actually looked it up on Spotify. I think it's called, I don't know, something that starts with an I. I want to say Impact, but I don't think that was it.
In an unexpected display of what appears to be honor, Vadami allowed the 3rd to finish gearing up before engaging them in combat. While we've had multiple reports of a strict system of honor and ritual behavior followed by the elites within the Covenant, this is the first recorded example of such honor being shown to human opponents. But even given the chance to defend themselves, 3rd Battalion losses were complete. Vadami continued his campaign across many human systems, culminating in his most devastating blow against the UNSC at Reach.
Reach, yeah. So I guess that was Noble
Vadami's
6
most recent
earlier.
and damaging blow to the UNSC
This is a
was the
throwback
fall
then.
of Reach. ONI has still not been able to fully determine how Vadami located the planet, and once again, he caught us completely by surprise when his forces arrived in orbit and on the ground. Vadami is responsible for over 1 billion total casualties and the loss of at least 7
Jesus.
human planets.
My lord.
His forces have defeated all UNSC counterattacks.
Well, if
at
that
the
are-
cost of
if that is
123
Arbiter, then
fleet
they're not
vessels
gonna have
and
good
over
relationships.
23,000 personnel. And now with Reach lost, Only in UNSC
that a
strategic
monitor?
AI
I couldn't
report a
tell.
0% confidence that the Navy can stop Vatamy through traditional means. In the opinion of this investigator, Vatamy is the most dangerous Covenant military asset on the field. It's common knowledge that the Covenant have a significant technological advantage over the UNSC, but are sometimes inflexible in their tactics. This is not the case for Vatamy. We cannot predict what he'll do next, but given time, we fear he will dismantle all remaining UNSC strongholds. This agent's recommendation? Immediate termination. If humanity wants to survive this war, we cannot do it with Vatamy on the field.
I'm wondering if that was also that could also be the heretic leader from Halo 2. Oh, bye-bye.
Quite unacceptable.
Didn't you leave for like 100-year journey? Is that what you said? Is this what happens when you leave for a 100-year field trip? Ah, it's that thingy. Wait, wasn't that the library? He was talking about the librarian. I'm doing some things. Ah, no!
Glorious day.
Shut the fuck up, I don't
the
want YouTube
prophets
Premium,
will be
okay?
pleased that we have rescued an oracle from the humans' violation of the Holy Temple.
Why do you keep calling it a temple? My installation was a weapon, and one which we needed very, very badly.
But Oracle, I do not understand. We were told the rings are salvation.
Wait,
a
is
gateway
this the
to
dude?
paradise.
Told? By
I forgot his
whom?
name already.
Anyone who
The
told
one
you that is a
his
fool,
name starts with a
or
V, I
quite,
think.
quite mad. That installation was a beautiful tool, designed to destroy everything the Flood might feed on.
Everything?
Oh, quite everything. And if even one Flood spore survived the destruction of my ring,
Communications. Shut down all lines to the fleet. We will not notify the prophets of our discovery until I hear everything this Oracle has to say.
I will gladly share what I am permitted, but we have little time. What has been unleashed here could destroy everything you have ever known.
On that, Oracle, we are in agreement.
Q Arbiter cutting some cables.
Your actions do not make sense. Proper protocol for a flood outbreak is to establish immediate infection reporting. Communications must be maintained
Who's
with
this
all
dude?
local forces in order to track any spread of the parasite.
There
Thanks,
are
Aegis,
no
buddy.
local forces,
Whatever.
Oracle. For now, all you have is me.
And that dude, okay, come on, he was there like 2 seconds ago,
But I
don't forget
tracked
him.
multiple ships in orbit, including some remaining human presence. In light of the danger posed
Yeah,
by
him.
the flood, surely you can
Oh, and
set
him.
aside this disagreement
Oh,
with
and
the
him.
humans
No.
and...
Anything still alive in orbit is our enemy. The humans have very good cause to kill us on sight. And the knowledge you've shared with me casts doubt on the entire purpose of our covenant. If any of our ships remain above us, they are not the help you seek.
But why would they not provide assistance? Because of this talk of prophecies and journeys? I learned a small amount about your covenant before that reclaimer blew up my installation. But my understanding is incomplete. The
My boy!
AI I encountered on board one of your ships was less than forthcoming.
The AI, okay.
What you need to know, Oracle.
So it is
that
like the
thousands
Covenant version
years
of
ago,
Cortana,
at
maybe,
the
kind of.
founding of our great covenant, a bargain was struck between the prophets and the elites. A bargain which I fear will be the end of us.
Regarding the history of the Covenant and its glorious founding species, the Sanshayum and Sanghili, the
I think I
record
saw
of
this
punished
one.
deeds would not be sufficient without a word
Yeah, I did.
on the Arbiter. Not the consignment of shame that it is currently, but what came before. the legendary warriors of Sangheli passed.
Already commented on how good that art is.
The Sangheli ruled their world with pride and vigilance, surviving the perils of both land and sea. These were the arbiters of old, part king, part judge, warrior rulers, unlike any of which would follow. When we arrived on their frontier world of Ulgathon, the cost of life was severe. Led by a mighty arbiter, the Sangheli resisted our entreatment with ruthless force, leading to decades of war.
Not to be rude, but they look like fucking Ninja Turtles.
We would eventually triumph, of course. And when we did, we would not ignore the mantle of the Arbiter.
From that godforsaken Michael Bay film.
Like all things, we would bend the Sangheli to our own ends. The Arbiters would become the very will of the Prophets.
For generations, our
Awkwardly
holy
standing
arrangement
around.
put the prophets in charge of religion and technology. The elites led our military forces to convert new species and find relics such as your halo.
Conversion. Ah, I didn't think about that. Ah, fuck!
And these relics you sought, the Sanshayum, your prophets, told you that they would lead you on this great journey?
Yes, transcendence, eternal life. Their promises were endless. We gave up.
You think they
our
actually had a
hopes
religion, or they
to
just made it
follow
up on the spot?
Prophet's lead on the great journey. Gave up all of our history, all of our traditions.
Not all of your traditions, it seems. This arbiter you mentioned, hasn't that always been a position of power for your species?
Power? It was long ago. An arbiter was once the pinnacle of our people, leader of the clans, and master of the battlefield. But then, an arbiter committed heresy, and an example was made of him.
Heresy?
He challenged the word of the prophets. Challenged and lost. So the title of Arbiter
Correct.
became a badge of shame for our most spectacularly failed warriors.
Yes. They were accomplished manipulators.
What's the other
Back
buddy,
before
though?
the firing of the array. I see at least that hasn't changed.
Manipulators? What? And before? Before when?
I will explain later. Right now, I want you to tell me everything you can of these arbiters.
GG to this man who's being open-minded. You know, just want to point that out. For anyone out there who's not open-minded. Fuck off!
Our holy city was not always as it is, nor was the Covenant. At one time, it was only Sanshayum and Sangheli. But as we grew, and new species were added to our number, radical steps had to be taken. Our first encounter with the Lek Golo was an effort in futility.
You know, my questions about the species of this game could have been answered if I just found this terminal.
Had devoured a Forerunner orbital, shattering its remains into 1 trillion pieces. What was left became the Rings of Te. As no conventional methods could purge the rings of their infestation, we sent one of our most faithful, an Arbiter. For a full year, this Arbiter ventured across the surface of one of their moons, learning both their strengths and their weaknesses. It was there that we discovered the Lek Golo's secret. Although some of their kind rightly bore the blame for the orbital's desecration, others had
thanks.
only devoured around the Forerunner materials. And with reasoning and much
That
labor,
form seems
these
oddly
could be
familiar.
used to serve the Covenant. And by these means, the Great Arbiter had given us one of our most sought-after treasures, access to innumerable processing pathways of the mighty Forerunner Dreadnought, and to the many secrets it held.
I think
It
I saw
is
this
most
one.
unusual that in all
No,
the
just kidding.
exploits of these Arbiters, you never mention their role in choosing their missions of redemption.
There is no role, Oracle. Once one of our commanders becomes an Arbiter, he belongs to the Hierarchs.
These Hierarchs, they are the same High Prophets who control all the holy relics you collect from my time?
The same.
What about
And they
Blue Res?
use
Oh, there
these
we go.
relics to build your new weapons and bring you the word of your gods?
It has always been so.
Interesting. Am I a holy relic?
I do not understand.
Because I am certainly not a god. I am a tool, as is this mining platform you stand upon, as was the installation that once orbited the planet. The Forerunner's technology is lasting and indeed quite powerful, but I'm quite certain they would have told me if I was infused with some kind of divine power. I suspect some of your prophets may have been quite aware of how much divine inspiration tools such as myself could provide. And you never questioned these proclamations. Even your mightiest warriors, these Arbiters, never questioned?
Questioning was what brought shame to the word Arbiter long ago, Oracle.
How disappointing.
I fear now that there are many questions we should have been asking for a long, long time.
I would be more than happy to answer any such questions, but I have a few more for you. Continue your tale of these Arbiters.
Please do.
Whereas most species were grafted into the Covenant by faith or mutual beneficence, the Ungoi were not such. Their
These
kind
grunts.
was brought into the fold by force,
Yeah.
and it was by force that they were held captive. Their world had no prayer against our might and majesty, and their peoples were quickly laid low, many of them brought into subjugation.
That's a big
Yet
rip.
while some species would perish under such pressure, others rise to the occasion, taking arms if need be, fighting back. Such it was for the
The
Ungoi when
Jackals,
their
I think.
feud with the Kigyar led to rebellion. An effort by the Kigyar to sterilize the Ungoi population was met with stiff resistance, and for a time, the Holy City was thrown into chaos. Once fully provoked, the Ungoi were merciless in their violence, lashing out at all species. Their large numbers and their tenacious volatility made them a suitable challenge, even for the elites.
Huh.
And yet again, we turned to an arbiter. And with a ferocity unparalleled since the beginning of the Covenant, the Ungoi world would be reduced to glass. Those within the Holy City would be forced to watch, unable to stop what could have been the very end of their kind. The Ungoi rebellion was brought to an end by the Arbiter's hand. Their world was not completely lost, and those who survived within high charity found some measure of mercy. They had proven their worth in combat, and would now serve alongside the Sangheili in battle.
That's a pretty big rip on the grunt lore.
I'm starting to fear that you're not very smart.
Okay, yeah, I saw this one.
Mind your tongue, Oracle.
Oh, I mean no
And then I
offense.
commented on
I'm
the
not talking about you.
oil
I'm
paint
talking about your
style,
species.
which
How long
is
have
consistent with
prophets
these
been anointing
cutscenes.
arbiters?
Since the fall of Falchavami, the first disgraced arbiter, roughly 400 years ago.
Incredible.
Resolution?
And in all
Go
this time, it
bye-bye?
never occurred
Okay.
to you how convenient it was that your prophets were able to find a powerful, capable leader among your people, who happened to suddenly commit a terrible blasphemy every time the power structure of your covenant was threatened.
I do not understand.
You do little to dissuade my fears.
Then teach me.
Looking back at the record of the arbiters you've discussed, was it not surprising to anyone that those chosen to become arbiter were more than simple warriors?
How so?
Each of them had significant political influence among your people. In some cases, that influence was already being used to question the decisions of your hierarchs. In fact, that very questioning often gave rise to the charges of heresy that so neatly removed the challenger from the hierarch's concern.
And once they were branded arbiter,
They promptly and quite cheerfully ran to meet their deaths.
all our lives we look down at the path, put our feet where the prophets tell us. All our lives spent convincing ourselves of the truth of our covenant. Could all of it truly have been wasted?
Let's hope not all of it, for we have a great deal of work to do. The Flood is still out there, so I require a cooperative reclaimer to enact proper containment procedures. But your covenants keep trying to kill all the reclaimers I can find. All
A
this
minor
bickering is quite
inconvenience.
a deadly waste of time. Right now, the most important question we can ask is this. Who could break this hold the prophets have over you?
I was gonna make a comment about religion, but decided against it. That feel when the YouTube ad was actually kind of interesting, so you watched the whole thing.
The history of the Arbiter is one of both legend and infamy.
Anyway, back to this.
Their name has been corrupted by great shame. Though the contemporary is perhaps the most confounding of all. Thel 'Vadamee was born of noble blood, the legendary House
'Vadamee,
of Vada.
yeah.
His family's renown demanded great expectations for his military career, and he would meet them all.
In a freaking dojo? Hell yes! It's my funky music again. I love it.
One of the youngest to achieve the status of Shipmaster, and one of the youngest to gain the rate of Supreme Commander. In our campaign against the humans, few have risen to renown as 'Vadamee. World after human world, all laid low for the sake of the great journey.
So I feel like
But
Vadamee
then came Halo.
is the guy the
Shame
monitor
unto
is talking
shame.
to.
He failed his greatest charge.
They
and the
wouldn't be
sacred
telling
ring
us
was
this if
desecrated.
he wasn't important to the story
By
somehow.
such disgrace, Thel 'Vadamee became the Arbiter. As a mere scribe, I do not challenge the word of the Hierarchs.
Alright, so that is him.
But I would be remiss not to voice concern. This Sangheili
Wait, I was
should have been
talking.
put
I'm gonna
down.
rewind. I'm sorry.
Up- World after human world.
I rewinded a little bit
All
because
laid
I
low for the sake
didn't
of
hear
the
what he
great
said.
journey. But then came Halo. Shame unto shame. He failed his greatest charge, and the sacred ring was desecrated. By such disgrace,
okay, that's what I thought I
Thel 'Vadamee
saw.
became the Arbiter.
So this
As
is
a
the
mere
Arbiter we're
scribe,
playing as because
I do not
that's
challenge
why
the word of the Hierarchs,
he was
but I would be remiss
punished
not
at
to
the
voice
beginning of Halo
concern.
2.
This Sangheili should have been put down.
Well, now we know
Publicly
Arbiter's
slain
name.
as an example to all of our prayerful expediency. With the discovery of a second ring and the changing of the guard, all things are in jeopardy. Will this Arbiter remain loyal? Or will he stand with his people
Nope.
as they are abolished by our newfound might? I would never openly challenge the divine proclamations of a hierarch. But this Arbiter is a risk I would not have tolerated. And I now fear the days of the Covenant are numbered.
So who's this guy if the other dude was Arbiter?
The only one I would trust with this information is probably dead right now. He was commander of the fleet that brought me to the system. Thel 'Vadamee was his name. But after hearing you tell of the destruction of the ring, I cannot believe that he still lives. His orders were to secure the ring, to prepare it for the arrival of the hierarchs. 'Vadamee never fails in his duties.
I've heard like 3 different
The
names for
ring
him.
is no
Vadamir,
more.
Vadamee is something else.
'Vadamee must be
Val
dead.
Vadamee.
Duty can indeed be a dangerous virtue. But even if he did live, wouldn't this sense of duty make him quite unlikely to set aside his allegiance to the prophets?
Perhaps not. And he would never betray our people. No, if we were able to just speak to him, explain everything
Oh
you
boy,
have
are
told
we gonna
me.
meet this dude then?
But no, these are futile hopes. If he did live, and if he was returned to the High Prophets, they would most certainly punish him for the destruction of the ring.
I mean, they
fact,
kinda did.
He would be the exact kind of leader the hierarchs would make Arbiter. They would need someone to blame for the loss of the ring. His influence within the fleet grew with every one of his victories over the humans.
And if he did become Arbiter?
Then he would be lost to our cause. Without the knowledge you've shared with me, he would obey the prophets without question.
Ah, but we
I doubt
already
he
saw
would
in
even
Halo 2 that
respond to his
he
former name. I don't know what it would take to
isn't
overcome.
completely
As you say,
closed-minded
don't
to
have
that.
time to ask such questions, and 'Vadamee is almost certainly dead.
If all your hopes rest on him, then I fear for the future of this galaxy.
As do I, Oracle. As do I. But I will begin our fight. Make others aware of the lies the prophets whisper in our ears. And soon, we will find more who will take up our cause.
When I've already played the game, it's kind of hard to judge when these terminals took place. Obviously, that took place before Arbiter had cut the cables to that thing. Funky music! Yes!
Activate the Kindler. Make haste. We have little time. It has been found, Commander. Very well. Mark the coordinates and
No,
proceed with caution.
please!
And to think, it has been under their noses all this time. Humans are foul animals. They lack the intellect and the purity to discern the ways of gods. Prepare the
Gods,
luminary
yeah.
for retrieval. The Hierarch will reward us for our devotion.
Well done, Commander. Do you know what you found?
A luminary hierarch. A divine instrument.
It is more than that, Commander. This is the one spoken of in the prophecies. It lights the sacred path.
Okay... Well, that's pretty.
Stewards, good news, I pray.
And we got the cool armor boys.
It was not easy, Blessed One. The Luminary was not forthcoming with the holy words, but our hope proved true.
I guess the Forerunner... I don't know what the Forerunners were. Honestly, whatever. I'll figure it out at some point.
Sacred rings.
That point is not now.
Halo. And not Halo alone, High Prophet. It also told of this. The final home of the Forerunners, and the creation of the sacred rings. The Ark.
By the gods. It is glorious. The stories were true. Where did the gods hide such a treasure?
It lies far beyond the borders of our galaxy, accessible only by way of portal. The one portal the Luminary spoke of was here. The Forerunners called it Erde Tyrene.
Our calling is clear. We must go there at once. We will take the ships in our command and go to this world immediately. This Erde Tyrene. Take heed, brothers. Your work signals the culmination of our Covenant's holy quest. Hold fast. The great journey is at hand.
I mean, both sides really do
Roger
think
that,
they're doing
Chief.
the right thing.
We'll meet you at the rendezvous point when we're done here. Blue 2 out.
John should be here too. They'd listen to him.
Somebody needs to be getting work done while we deal with the red tape.
What do you think they want from us?
It's naval intelligence, Linda. They want us to tell them everything's gonna be okay.
Hate to disappoint.
Blue Team. Where's the Master Chief?
He asked that I answer the Council's questions. Sir.
We've been reviewing your report.
You found a Covenant command and control station. It says here they were amassing an invasion fleet of more than 500 ships.
The station was sufficiently disabled, but the threat is still out there.
I have the report, but for the record of this council, what was this fleet's intended target, Spartan?
Well, at least we found more Spartans. I know that there were some, but the only one that I had actually encountered was Master Chief and
Station
then all
Control,
the...
can I get confirmation on probe Charlie
people from
319er? Looks like it might be a faulty reading, but...
Alert, 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 alert.
This can't be right.
C319 is active and functioning properly.
Station! Alert home fleet immediately! They found us! The Covenant! They found Earth!
Oof. Jesus, that was 30 minutes? That did not feel like 30 minutes. Alright. Well, we learned more about the Covenant. So when I was reacting to the terminal cutscenes from CE, I had questions about the Monitor and their whole lore and situation. And now I have the Covenant, which I thought I understood most of it, and I think I still do. But, you know, there's bits and pieces of confusion here and there. But it's like a weird kind of confusion where I can't really put my confusion into a question form, so I'm just kind of like, I'll figure it out. I really want to try to find more terminals when I play Halo 3, which will be coming fairly soon. But yeah, I definitely want to try finding all the terminals. Because, I mean, all of these make sense a little bit now that I've played the game, but I feel like it would be more sensical if I were to find the terminals and watch these cutscenes while I'm playing the game. Because it's clear that all of these cutscenes were meant for a certain point in the game. So I need to just find those points. But yeah, alright. Oh man. If I have any questions at the very end of me playing all the Halo games, that's gonna be the main question section. Because for now, I kind of want to see if I can figure everything out through the cutscenes and terminals that happen in the games, and just the gameplay in general. I haven't played Halo 3 yet, so, I mean, I don't know how that's gonna make the story evolve. I'm assuming that Master Chief and Arbiter are going to, work together at some point. And I'm wondering what Arbiter's relationship is with the Covenant now. And that weird worm thing that happened in Halo 2, I want to learn more about that. I mean, there's just a lot more to learn about and not enough words to put my confusion into questions. So it's just going to be something that I'm going to have to look into and discover as I go. But for now, that was really interesting. That was my reaction to all of the terminal cutscenes from Halo 2 Anniversary. I will see you when I play Halo 3. Thank you for watching.